And CAT I've always maintained is more decision making paper than a maths and English or reasoning paper.
हर सेट को पूरा सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करना is not necessary. You
Yeah.
can take out some questions. I think those who heard this or followed this might have benefited from it. So let's start with what we have planned for today. So we'll be discussing the overall structure of CAT 2024 and comparing it with the other years 23, 22, and 21 specifically, right? And we'll be discussing the expected percentile section wise and slot wise. So that's what we are planning to do here. So yeah, let's start with this. Let's start with what the CAT 24 was first, and then go over to the percentiles next. The surprise is known. DLR was 22 questions this year. TETA questions were 10. So that is one of the things that GB already talked about, right? And VARC was only 2 TETA questions. That was also another nice surprise, maybe. So yeah, that is how it was. Overall levels were not. So none of the sections was very difficult, except probably for the quant section in the second slot. So thoda sa difficult tha as compared to 1 and 3. But mota mota, all of this was easy to moderate or moderate to difficult. So that is where it was in between.
So see, there were a couple of surprises this year. So slot one people would have definitely faced those surprises. And typically slot one people don't react very well to surprises. Wo to historically we have seen.
Yes.
So generally whenever there is normalization and slot one has to be changed, typically slot one goes slightly higher than usual because again, some people will not react very well to new question types. They might not react well to changes in the level of difficulty. So all those things will happen. Again, a lot of people are not morning people per se, so वो भी एक चीज होता है. So all those things will impact slot one generally. And today again, there were a couple of surprises that were there. One, there were no jumbled paragraphs, which was a good surprise, but even then people would have been surprised. So that was one thing. And the second thing is the change in the number of questions in DILR. It increased by 2 questions. Jiska preview they had sort of shown in the official mock that was there. But even then, I think some people would have been surprised because they saw it in action, right? Because a lot of mock tests also, I don't think they changed towards the end and they didn't accommodate those 22 questions. They stuck to 20 questions till the end. Some sectionals and all were available. But primarily, people stuck to 20 questions wale mocks. And suddenly one extra set to choose from. I'm not saying solve, but to choose from, that basically creates a big difference as well. So I think a lot of people faced that. तो वो हो गया. Because of that, ये सब balance पकड़ के अगर देखेंगे, pluses and minuses, quant getting slightly easier compared to 23. The cutoffs should go up by a bit, little bit.
So that's how it was. There were 3 questions of geometry in my slot for and a couple of questions of numbers which were very easy too. So I think again it was a well balanced paper. You could do some double digit attempts for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much my take. 8 TETA questions, and this was how it was. So I had fun solving the paper.
I think QA was one section where across the 3 slot there were mixed reactions. So I remember when I heard what GB and Ravi they had taken slot number 1. So I was on my way to take the test. They said that yeah, 15 plus the attempt hoga hi types. Okay. So I was expecting that to happen. When I started seeing some of the algebra questions, I said, nahi ho raha. This is at least in slot number 2, I could look at few questions that Jabardasti they're making me do a lot of hard work. So I think there would be sort of a normalization likely going to happen.
You don't gamble when you're sitting on 8 attempts. You gamble when you're sitting on 15 attempts. वैसे तो जिन्होंने वो बराबर से गेम खेला है, I think they will do well. Others might not. वो थोड़ा flattering लगेगा attempts, but I don't think that's going to end well, to be very honest.
It appears that almost all the passages across the 3 slots were more like general purpose reading. Journals and research papers were for the change absent in the paper, and which is what probably would have made the paper easier. And which is why we think that the section 1 cutoff or section 199 percentile is going to be a shade higher than last year, maybe 1 to 1.5 questions higher than last year. Uh, as we get more data, we'll be able to give a concrete thing. But at this point of time, something like a 41, 42 seems to be a very good score for 99 percentile across the three slots. If you look at the three slots individually, 99 percentile in verbal would be something like 40 plus minus 41 marks. Plus minus 1 is what you can look at. Same and slot 2 would be 42 and slot number 3 would be something like 43. So just a 1 mark plus minus kind of a thing which is there.
I'm not anticipating a jump in cutoffs by say 15, 20 marks. But I think the cutoffs will go up by maybe a factor of 5 marks, 6 marks. So that is basically what I'm anticipating.
Overall, for VRC, what are your thoughts?
So VRC remained more or less similar to CAT 23.
Okay.
But then VRC ka the fun thing is people go out and attempt, go all out and attempt everything.
-4, 0, 4, 8, 12. So the
Yeah.
so those are the possible score if I attempt all the questions right. In RC, there were a couple of RCs where 8 to 12 was possible.
Yes.
And couple of RC, it's probably going to be 4-ish. Okay, so 2 correct, 2 wrong, right?
Questions are based on example 2 में क्या मैंने बोला हुआ है passage के अंदर. So it was that. So it was a very easy passage to read. So पढ़ने में I don't think people would have taken more than 3 minutes or even 4 minutes. If someone is a slow reader, तो भी 3-4 minutes से ज़्यादा मसाला था ही नहीं पढ़ने के लिए पैसेज के अंदर. There was nothing you could do beyond those 3 or 4 minutes of reading. मतलब क्या ही पढ़ लोगे, right? So it was that kind of a thing.
Students should have looked at very seriously. So that basically boils down to a major difference coming from the fact that there was no real set where you looked at it and turned around and stated, "Ye to nahi hoga. This is not something that I'll be able to crack in CAT," which is slightly different from what we've been seeing over the last few years, which was good as well as bad. Good in terms of everything felt doable, bad in terms of you might pick up the set and not have the capability of leaving it after a couple of questions, and that is where you could get stuck. If you have the capability of leaving sets after a couple of questions because the other questions seem difficult, this was an ideal paper to look at all 5, venture into them, and probably attempt about 15 to 17 questions as compared to probably 10, 12 questions in the previous year.
And not being worried about completing the set. Again, I'll go back to movies. हार के जीतने वाले कोई बाजीगर कहते हैं ना, वो यहाँ पे ये बहुत क्लियरली चलता था.
Last years जहाँ पे मतलब you had more correct answers that were there, verifiable answers so to say. So वो दोनों balance out होके DLR slightly easy हो जाता है, I agree, but not extremely easy compared to last year. So last year if I am saying that 30 marks पे you got a 99 percentile, this year you might get a 99 percentile at a slightly higher score. मतलब I will not say that it will go way beyond. My prediction for 99 percentile this year will be somewhere around maybe let's say 37-ish.
Our feeling is that probably slot number 2 is a tad difficult than the other 2 slots is at this point in time.
By about 2 questions odd. Yeah. 1 or 2 questions.
The issue in slot 2 quant was not that the questions were difficult. The questions were lengthy. It was kind of a 2-layer.
I am not very aggressive in terms of leaving questions. I will try it out at least एक बार, फिर I will let go. वो होता है. But today as soon as I saw the first few questions, I realized that भाई ये वही है. CAT 23 जैसा ही थोड़ा लग रहा है, maybe slightly easier.
And GP, that would have taken care of the difference of those 1 or 2 questions that has happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So which is why I would repeat, those of you who are going to, those of you have taken CAT but have not done the past papers, please don't make that mistake with that. That papers, please make sure the last 6 years papers of quant, you definitely attempt them. And do definitely do the DM and English of all the 15 years papers of that. And if you are a next year student, which means you are targeting CAT next year, the next November you plan to take CAT, remember these old CAT papers are essential for you. 17 to 24 will be essential. And as Gejo said, 91 to 2008 are the next leg you need to do. So it is not that it's the last 6 years only. In the CAT 91 to 2024, you do all of them. You can sequence them by doing the 17 to 24 first and 91 to 2008 later.
So round one के अंदर I think I was done with 12 questions by the time I reached the 22nd question. तो 12 क्वेश्चन मैंने मतलब तरीके से properly writing down all the steps, formulas अच्छे से मतलब किया हुआ है. That I'm 100 मतलब not 100% sure but pretty sure of कि mostly they are right. ठीक है.
The key thing here is a lot of 10 theta questions, no? Out of
50% almost.
10
That's
theta.
humongous.
So attempt would have been high for sure. So,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
but at least the confidence level that one has with respect to theta is less and no. So that we probably would have made a few mistakes here and there. So we
Correct.
probably about 30 plus should be a very good sort of score. And to clear the cutoff, we needed 2 sets, right? At least you'll have to venture into 2 sets, no? To at least play the
Yeah,
cutoff.
for sure.
See, I hope students have marked answers to all theta questions. If you put some number in all theta questions, hopefully even if one becomes right, that's a 3 bonus marks for you.
So that is basically when you gamble. You don't gamble when you're sitting on 8 attempts. You gamble when you're sitting on 15 attempts. वैसे तो जिन्होंने वो बराबर से गेम खेला है, I think they will do well. Others might not वो थोड़ा flattering लगेगा attempts, but I don't think that's going to end well, to be very honest.
GP, funny that you say this because for the past couple of months, you and every one of us has been saying this कि हर set को पूरा solve करने की कोशिश करना is not necessary. You can take out some questions. I think those who heard this or followed this might have benefited from it.
And CAT I've always maintained is more decision-making paper than a maths and English or reasoning paper. You have to keep deciding which questions to attempt and which ones to leave. If you're judicious in your decision-making, you will always do well in the paper because you will not waste time in trying to attempt questions which are difficult or time-consuming.
And, like we've been talking about, CAT is over. You have a lot of other exams coming up. Some of you might have already written NMAT or you might be going ahead and looking at that. So go ahead and look at NMAT, SNAP, ZAT. These are specific exams that you should be writing. Multiple top colleges under these exams, under NMAT. Nasimunji is a very well-known college and it has multiple colleges under it. Nasimunji Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Indore, multiple such campuses. Similarly, under SNAP, there are multiple colleges, about 15, 17 courses.
Be careful about it. SNAP के अंदर normalization नहीं होता. So if you are taking multiple attempts, good for you. So lot of challenges still remain. So make sure that you reach at least the end of January. If someone is planning to take the CMAT, तब तक CET को ही दे रहा है तो maybe March तक. Make sure that you are focused on tests. You only need to crack one test at the end of the season, not now.